So for the first project that I'm going to work on, using something that, was going to be a throwaway, I'm going to try using one of my Yupo paper cutouts. And I could emboss it. I'll save that for another one. So for today, I think I'm just going to spray over it with some Distress Oxide sprays. And because it's pigment, it should cover most of the background. So I'm just going to spray. And some of that background may show through, because I'm not going to completely obliterate it. And then because the inks or the sprays won't dry on the Yupo paper, I'm going to take another background and let's just find something that is wackadoodle. Well, actually, that might be too much. Maybe, okay, maybe something like that. Okay, that, I'm not sure what will happen, but we'll play with it. So I'm going to just take my cutout. Once again, I do not have gloves on. Take it off this one and flip it onto this one and press it down and see if we can get most of that. I can't find my bone folder as usual. I did organize this space, but I forget where I organized my bone folder to. All right, I'm just going to use this. Let's see if I can. I really need something stiffer. Okay, give me the handle. Okay. And then I'm just going to set that aside. So this one, so some of the stuff is showing through. I'm not sure you can really see the heart, but I'm going to try the Distress Oxide Resist piece. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a dark color. Actually, what? Let's try the Scorched Timber. And let's just see what happens. Cool. So I feel like with the darker color, that's going to oxidize the Distress Oxides that are underneath and give a better contrast. But you can see some of that diamond shape is peeking through. So it might actually be a really cool look when all is said and done. I just want to get rid of some of the drippy look in the heart. And then I'll leave kind of some of the shading and everything, between the pinks and the reds. And so I'm going to go off and let that dry. And when it is, I will be back. Actually, before I go off and let things dry, I might as well spray this one. This one I feel it's going to be tricky. I'm going to use the same color. I might as well kind of stay with the same technique. And let's just see what happens. So again, this is Scorched Timber Spray Stain over the Distress Oxide Worn Lipstick, which is the pink, again, left over from the Yupo paper. And then this is Distress Oxide, one of the blue colors. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that is. No, it is definitely a spray of some sort, because it started out with white paper. I was thinking, oh, maybe that's the craft paper, but nope. All right, so let's see what happens. Let's just spray. Actually, I'm not hating that. That looks kind of cool. Let's see if I have any of my browns around. I'm just looking for one of the darker ones. Frayed burlap. Walnut stain. Let's just throw some walnut stain in this one. Cool. All right, that actually worked better, at least right now, than I thought it would. It covered over whatever that gold color was. And then the blue is kind of peeking through, but then so is the pink. So that I might have actually fixed that background. So I'm going to let both of these dry, and then I'll come back and I actually will finish these cards. So when everything's dry, I will be back. Okay, so I am back, and I have let everything dry. So here is the first piece that I did, and then here was the second one. And if you remember, the first one, we used the Yupo paper cutout to spray over the top, and then we used that ink that was not going to dry on the Yupo paper, and we transferred it to the second piece. And then I went over the top with different colors, scorched earth, and a little bit of walnut stain on this one. And then I can't remember if I sprayed a little bit of the spun sugar. I think those are what those little dots are. But in order to finish these, so these started out as rejects, if you remember correctly. And so to me, I like what's going on here. I wouldn't do a whole lot to finish them off. I'd like the heart to kind of be the center of attention, if you will. And so planning on using these for Valentine's cards. So in the case of the pink one, I was trying to decide, did I want the pink to kind of stand out? Did I want the background to be more of a muted color? And I do like that look. Or I could layer something like that. And I'm thinking that's probably the way that I'm going to go, although I am leaning towards the darker background. And then I think the only thing that I might do to finish this card off, and so that's would be a very simple, almost like a take 5 if you don't count the dry time in there, is I feel like these 49 in Market paper flowers, I love this type of thing because they're already done for you, and you know, you can just put a couple, maybe 3 on there, and that just makes a quick and easy but really pretty card. I think I actually like it on just the brown. This is actually not a full card. I'd go off and make the full card. This is just more like a matte. But I think I actually like that look. Something along the lines of that. And again, I would just glue these down with probably Distress Collage Medium. I love this bottle. I like the way the glue comes out of it. I used to use Scotch Tacky Glue, but their latest rendition of it I'm not crazy about. I also like the Mono glue. So those are kind of my 2 go-tos. But that's probably what I'll end up using to glue them down, and then just tape the whole thing to the background. So that's the way I'm leaning towards what I want to do for finishing this card. And then in the same vein for the other back. So again, I kind of got a twofer out of this one. One thought was, again, more of a muted background. And then maybe even just a single flower on this one. It's got a lot of going on in the background. I might not even need the flower, but if you wanted, you know, some kind of doodad on it, you could do something like that. Or the other thought was picking up the pink, which then I would not do that because the pink is off a little bit. This is a little, I don't know if you can see on camera with the lighting. Well, I guess it's not that bad. I was thinking it was a little peachier than the card. It looks peachier when it's on, it's funny, when it's on that brown background, the rose looks, or the flower looks a little peachier than the background. But quite frankly, I might just like it that way. Actually, there's one in there. Oh, maybe that with little brown doodads. Kind of flatten it out a little bit. Yeah, something like that. So if you wanted to do a doodad, that would be fine. I may just go with it plain, especially if I'm going to do the pink. I kind of like that too. So, I think I like the pink better. So that's probably how I'm going to finish it. But you definitely have two options with both of these. Or again, I could do kind of a layered thing. So this is how I would finish these cards. Again, I wouldn't go to town trying to add all kinds of extra stuff on top, just because I like the interest of the stuff that's showing through. So if you remember, that was from the original card, and then that peeked through the sprays. And then this one, you can just make out there were diamonds in the original background, and that's what those hints of blue are, is those diamonds. So that's how I would finish them off. Simple backgrounds. Maybe I like that scroll showing there, so I may not go with the doodads on there. I may just go with them on this one. So yeah, that's how I would do it. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Okay, I just happen to have this kicking around. So one other thought on this one is, instead of doing the paper flowers, is something along the lines of that. I mean, I'd be covering up, or maybe I could do a smaller version of something like that, because I don't really want to cover up the heart, but something like that where it picks up the blue in the background would also work. So thanks again for joining me. See you next time.